Hi everyone. Today we are going to review the activity that you're going to be doing while Miss Spilio and I are out. And we are going to continue our practice of reading passages and looking for word choice. So here are your directions for today. You need to read the passage, or if you're watching this, obviously listen to the audio link. And you should be following along as we do it and annotating. What are you going to annotate for? We want you to be looking for the connotations of words, so words with both a positive and negative connotation, as well as objective and subjective statements. You are then going to complete the worksheet that is at the end of this passage. This is due by the end of class, so whatever is completed, you need to turn in for a classwork grade. So here's the passage, How Autism Freed Me. One of the things I can do because I'm autistic, it's an ability rather than a disability, is I've got a very, very vivid imagination. Let me explain it to you a bit. It's like I'm walking in two worlds most of the time. There's the real world, the world that we all share, and there's the world in my mind. And the world in my mind is often so much more real than the real world. Like, it's very easy for me to let my mind loose because I don't try and fit myself into a tiny little box. That's one of the best things about being autistic. You don't have the urge to do that. You find what you want to do. You find a way to do it, and you get on with it. If I was trying to fit myself into a box, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have achieved half the things I have now. There are problems, though. There are problems with being autistic, and there are problems with having too much imagination. When my imagination takes hold, my body takes on a life of its own. When something very exciting happens in my inner world, I've just got to run. I've got to rock backwards and forwards and sometimes scream. This gives me so much energy, and I've got to have an outlet for all that energy. But I've done that ever since I was a child, ever since I was a tiny girl. And my parents thought it was cute, so they didn't bring it up. But when I got into school, they didn't really agree that it was cute. It can be that people don't want to be friends with the girl that starts screaming in an algebra lesson. And this doesn't normally happen in this day and age, but it can be that people don't want to be friends with the autistic girl. It can be that people don't want to associate with anyone who won't or can't fit themselves into a box that labels normal. But that's fine with me. But if you think about it, what is normal? What does it mean? Imagine if that was the best compliment you ever received. Wow, you are really normal. But compliments are, you are extraordinary, or you step outside the box. It's, you are amazing. So if people want to be these things, why are so many people striving to be normal? Why are people pouring their brilliant individual light into a mold? People are so afraid of variety that they try to force everyone, even people who don't want to or can't, to be normal. All in all, I wouldn't trade my autism and my imagination for the world. Because I am autistic. I've presented documentaries to the BBC. 6. I'm in the midst of writing a book. I'm doing this. This is fantastic. And one of the best things that I've achieved, that I consider to have achieved, is I found ways of communicating with my little brother and sister, who, as I've said, are nonverbal. They can't speak. And people would often write off someone who's nonverbal, but that's silly. Because my little brother and sister are the best siblings that you could ever hope for. They're just the best, and I love them so much, and I care about them more than anything else. I'm going to leave you with one question. If we can't get inside the person's mind, no matter if they are autistic or not, instead of punishing anything that strays from normal, why don't we celebrate uniqueness and cheer every time someone unleashes their imagination? So here's your activity for the day. As you've read, or if you just read it once, you need to go back and make sure that you annotate for strong word connotations, like we've been practicing. Once you've highlighted, then you then need to characterize them into whether they are positive or negative. So here's an example, going back to the top. Looking here, the way that they use this, ability seems to be positive. Disability seems to have a negative connotation, like something's bad. So you would go through and annotate. Once you've done that, you're going to categorize them. So I would say ability, and I would say disability. And I would go through and list the words of my connotation. The next step is you want to look at your list of words, and you want to decide, are the words more positive in connotation or negative? And you would put your answer here. And then you need to critically think, if the words are positive, how does that impact the overall feel or the overall message of the story? If the words are negative, how is that impacting the feel? And you're going to write a response in the box here. Finally, you're going to go back to the passage once more and look at your annotations. You need to write one objective statement here and then describe how that would be proven. And then you would find a subjective statement, write it in the box here, and then explain how that statement could be argued or how it contains bias or assumptions. Again, you're going to complete all of this and turn it in at the end of the block.